If you've thought about a new or used pontoon boat and you think it might be right for you, you might want to know the downsides and negatives that are inherent to this type of boat. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Sean, and welcome to Lens Cove Lessons in Boating. Would you agree that the thought of getting out on the water on a pontoon boat really appeals to you? And yet, you really don't want to make any mistakes and make a wrong purchase. Although pontoon boats have many upsides, the truth is there's no one perfect type of boat, and there are some flaws and limitations. The key is to know what they are and see if that still works for you. That way you can make a smart purchase decision and see if it's right for your friends and family. On today's video, we're going to honestly tell you about the downsides and negatives of pontoon boats so you can make a good choice. Today you will learn what issues arise from a pontoon boat being exposed to the elements consistently, how they can be harder to dock and handle, how the higher end pontoon boats depreciate faster than lower value ones, how if you have a low power or they're an older style, they can be slow, how they require specialized equipment to lift and transport, how they can be easily damaged, and how pontoons are safe in rough water but can get you wet. One of the great things about a pontoon boat is relatively maintenance free, easy to clean, mostly vinyls. However, if you leave it out in the sun and rain all the time, over the course of years, the vinyl will age and deteriorate, and also the pollen in the air will stick in spots, and sometimes you can see some pretty ugly growth along the outside. Luckily, you can pressure wash off a lot of that growth, but the vinyls, if they're allowed to deteriorate, become expensive to replace. Be careful to not use strong cleaners, and also protect your boat by covering it as frequently as possible. Ironically, a pontoon boat is easier and harder to handle around the dock. It is very susceptible to wind. Because it's a large side, if a breeze comes up, it can throw you off course. Conversely, it's also harder to make drift in and out of parallel parking when docking along a shore wall. So sometimes its benefits can be its drawbacks. At the end of the day, it just takes a little time to learn. By and large, pontoon boats are the lowest depreciation of any boat market segment, and that's great news. It makes owning them very inexpensive. However, the highest end of that market, the ultra luxury pontoon boats, are more like a luxury car, and they do depreciate faster. They're not as quick as a car by any means, and yet a low value pontoon boat will depreciate way slower than a high value pontoon boat. Pontoon boats, when they were first created, had very small diameter pontoons on them, and they were essentially torpedoes heading through the water. Today, they're much larger diameter. They often have what are called lifting strakes, and they are often triple pontoons. Add that to high horsepower and they're very quick. But if you put a low horsepower on a pontoon and they're a smaller diameter, they're going to be pretty slow. Pontoon boats are very narrow in between the pontoons, and a lot of the trailers and lifting equipment slide up in between the pontoons, and if you put them on crooked, it'll scrape up the inside of the pontoons. Luckily, you won't really damage it to the point of needing repair, but it might be slightly annoying to you that it has scratches on the inside. The other thing is that because of the balance of the weight, and pontoon boats are fairly long, you have to be really careful when picking them up with a forklift, because if the balance point is at the end of the forks, almost all the weight of the boat will be placed on that one cross member. Pontoon boats are extremely safe, and particularly the newer ones with triple pontoons and larger diameter will feel very buoyant and very stable. However, one of the things that happens is when you head into a crosswind and the waves are coming at an angle to the bow, they will tend to spray up over in very rough conditions. So you'll be safe, but you'll be wet. Pontoon boats are one of the fastest growing market segments, are one of the most versatile and fun, and provide arguably the lowest cost of ownership. Make sure when you're shopping for a new pontoon boat, you lean on an expert who understands how they work and asks you lots of questions about how you plan to use it so they can match up the right pontoon boat for your usage so that you can keep that value high. There can be a lot of questions when shopping for a new or used pontoon boat, and hopefully we answered some of them today. Check out the description below for links to blog posts and also a link to make a one-on-one consultation at no obligation with one of our professionals here at Lens Cove. Thank you for joining us on Lens Cove Lessons in Boating for today's video. Remember to like this video and subscribe for more. Be safe, have fun, and we'll see you out on the water.